Family, welcome to this edition of I'm Not Crazy But with Dr. Rhonda Mattox. I'm Dr. Rhonda Mattox. On I'm Not Crazy But, we talk about everything behind the dot, dot, dot. As many of you know, sometimes people will pull you aside and they will tell you, I'm not crazy but, and right behind that but is something that follows that is a little bit taboo. Family, we talk about those little bit taboo things and we talk about it openly and in a safe place. We are a safe place where you are free to grow. Please do what you know to do, which is drop in the chat where you're tuning in from and go ahead and share it with your friends. I have an all-star cast on here today as we are talking about being Black and blue. Today, we are distinguishing between what is winter blues, what is holiday stress, and what is actually clinical depression. We want to be able to distinguish what that is so that we can know strategies to do that. And I am not doing that alone. I'm doing that with some amazing folks and a person that is familiar to you. We'll start with one of my favorite producers in the Ellis Dean, a friend of the show, and Dr. Sylvia E. Morris, a hospitalist, Dr. Diane Boykin, an OB-GYN, and Dr. Angela Walker, who is also a primary care provider. The three lady doctors here are the co-authors, physicians and co-authors of The Game Plan, A Woman's Guide to Living a Life in Medicine. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. How are you doing today?
Really well. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Great.
Now,
Thank you.
wonderful. The last time I was here, family, it was just before my birthday, and we took a little bit of hiatus just so that I can enjoy my birthday months. And I am dressed in red today, even though I have dressed my house in red and decorated already. But as we are entering the holidays, we sometimes feel like the weight of the world is on our shoulders. We have to host perfect Christmas parties. We have to plan, buy the perfect gifts, and then we have to hang out with sometimes people we like and sometimes people we don't like as much. Coworkers, family members, in-laws, you name it, and the weight can feel burdensome because you know when you go into those settings, auntie comments on your weight, the way you're raising your children, all of that, and that can be a bit burdensome. And so as we come into the holidays, many times we are excited and we're saying happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas, and other times not so much. Today, we're going to talk about what's happening when it's the not so much. When you are watching those beautiful Christmas movies with all the people around and they're having a wonderful celebration, but perhaps you've lost somebody, or you don't want to do that, or you're alone. So let's get into it today. Now, families, before we get into everybody else's business, let's talk about, are we stressed? And do we have great plans before the holidays that is giving us, it's good stress maybe, or bad stress? How are we doing? Let's do a check-in. How are you doing with your holiday stress?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a bit of a planner. So, right after Thanksgiving, actually on my flight home, I made this list for both gifts as well as things I need to get accomplished before the holidays really get up and rolling. And then I'm traveling for a week coming up. So, that also kind of puts me under the gun. But I'm excited about the holidays this year.
Yay! Anyone else?
Yeah, I just decided this year I'm going to take it as it comes. We are displaced from our house due to water leak and some construction. And if anyone's undergone any construction, it usually takes much longer than what is initially planned. And so I've been able to travel to see my mom in Dallas for the Thanksgiving holidays and saw my kids and was filled with that. So I'm taking that into the holiday season. And my goal I set for last year was to make the holidays obviously about celebrating the what I feel is the reason for the season, but also respecting everyone else's. But making it more about the experience versus the gifts. And so I've cut down on that gift list, but realized, well, this year trying to make the experience is a little bit difficult. And so I'm just giving into letting it be.
Yes.
Sharing my love and just letting it be, take it as it comes instead of stressing about the things that I can't control.
Yes, let it be. Share as it comes. I like it. And we've already introduced the travel piece that it can make it unnecessarily anxiety provoking. The being displaced. Anybody else want to share? Ellis, I'm gonna save you for last. Dr. Boykin, you're new to our show. You share.
Yeah, sure. Well, what has been stressful for me in the past is shopping. And I had to realize that I really don't like going to stores. I don't like being around a lot of people. And I also don't like having to guess what someone is going to like. So I have evolved into an online shopper that has really cut down on my stress. My children are older, so I kind of say, hey, give me some things that you like. And they're so kind to me. They give me the links.
I love it. The links.
Yes, I would say to anyone in your audience, if your children can generate the link for you, it will really make your life a lot easier and cut down on stress. And I also agree with Dr. Walker as far as really trying to be in the moment and enjoy the time with family. I would agree. Over the years, I've kind of cut down on the the all of the gift giving and really just trying to enjoy the experience with family.
Yes, I love it. I find that I get overwhelmed with too many choices. And so I need just two or three choices. But when it's like 17, I really want to do the matching pajama thing like everyone else. But I'm going to tell you, in shopping for pajamas, I just slammed my computer down. It was like, it's too many choices. So we will not be the family on Facebook with the matching pajamas at all. Ellis, tell us your perspective.
Well, I always think the holiday season is an exercise in self-awareness. And so what I hear from everybody's response today is they are aware of who they are and what they like to do, what they're comfortable with, what they're not comfortable with. So Dr. Morris is a planner, so she's on the plane writing a list down. It's like, not saying you're an introvert, but that sounded like an introvert type tendencies there. And so you're like, look, the online shopping has been a gift to you with regards to being able to shop without having to get into all those stores. And Dr. Walker, you're already dealing with challenges enough. You're like, look, I got to back off on some of these things. And so I love the fact that you made the pivot to really focusing on what's important in this holiday season. I also kind of think about how it has evolved over the years. I'm old enough to remember getting that Sears catalog as a kid and running and falling on the floor and circling all the stuff that you wanted in that catalog. And so I may have just dated myself a little bit, but I don't care.
You're in good company.
Yeah, so that's one of those things. But now we look at it, you think about having to fight those fights in the stores because there wasn't any online shopping. Yes, kids, there was a time where there wasn't online shopping. You had to go and brave the stores and elbow and fight, and you can't find your size and all of that stuff. And so I think, but the point for me is always, it is stressful, but I know I've always been kind of keen on what people really kind of want. And I've been, a pretty good gift giver over the years because I listen, right? And I think that's important when we're talking about making those lists for our families and friends. Listen to what they're saying throughout the year and then make a mental note and put that beautiful thing of smartphones. There's a little notes function. You can put that note on there so you don't stress yourself out at the end of the year going, oh, what can I get them? They could say something in March and you can plant that have that seed and give it to them later on that year. So that's kind of, yes, it is stressful because, there There's money concerns that always comes into gift giving, and especially as you get older and your kids get older, and they're not wanting, they're not going for the small gifts anymore. They're going for,
Right.
iPads and iPhones and all kind of stuff. My son came in talking about he wanted a $300 cologne. I said, son, I don't have a $300 cologne.
Right.
Like, really? Seriously? That's a whole nother story. But I will say this, find your way through navigating this holiday season, whether it's through family stress, whether it's through shopping, whether it's through personal kind of loss that can happen. Please, please, please find your space where you can be you and recenter, because the holidays can be very, very stressful, as we just talked about, but you've got to find a way to get through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think when you are navigating this season, the stressors are different depending on what stage of life you're in. So if you are a mom of toddlers, then there is this, you want to give them the world. If you are a divorced parent, then maybe you're trying to make up for the guilt that you have for not being there, those kinds of things. And then, of course, if you are in your later years, maybe you are stressing because everybody's coming to your house because you're big mama. And so now you're supposed to do this, but you don't have the stamina. Maybe you got had a knee replacement or need a knee replacement. You can't be in the kitchen all the time. And so that internal pressure can be really overwhelming. And I'll say, and the money stress is across the board, because if you have the money, you don't want to, you maybe want to save and you don't want to, but then there is this perception of, because you're a physician or because you're this, that
Oh
you're
my
so
God, Dr. Rhonda, please stop tap dancing around the answer. Okay. People start pocket watching. Okay, that's what they do. They pocket watch. And they think just because you drive a certain car or you got some certain shoes on that they give is supposed to be matching on what you got for yourself. I earned this. Don't pocket watch. Get you with your gift. I'm gonna get you your gift. Okay. So I'm gonna say it for you, Dr. Rhonda. I know you can't say it. You're professional. You don't want to. But I'm saying, stop watching your relatives. Stop doing that.
Yes, yes. And the other piece though is, and if you were a parent, I remember buying my daughter some great stuff, and she went right for the gift paper in the box. The child played with the box, all of that stuff, and she played with the box. And so we just want to set some of you free. I know that you are comparing yourself to the Facebook lies. Notice I didn't say lies, I said lies. And the Instagram and all of that stuff. And that comparison is the thief of joy. So that can be the holiday stress. But when do we move from holiday stress to, of being overwhelmed, to what is winter blues or clinical depression? What's the difference between holiday stress, winter blues, and clinical depression? Yes.
I think you, Dr. Rhonda, are probably the best one to give us the definition. But in my mind, when I've talked to patients, it's that point in which you feel like more than 50% of your time you are feeling sad, crying, you're not getting satisfaction out of life, and just feel, completely overwhelmed with either, thoughts of, loved ones or lost relationships. But when you can't get over that, more than 50% of your time of feeling unhappy, I think that's time when you really need to assess whether it's just the holiday blues versus, depression, and when you may need help.
Anyone want to add to that? Good point.
Yeah, and if I may add, if you have dark thoughts, so if you have thoughts that you want to harm yourself or harm someone else, then we never want people to suffer in silence. You can call 988, which is a suicide prevention hotline. It is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's completely anonymous, because sometimes you have thoughts that surprise you. You may hear things that aren't quite right. And again, we don't want people to suffer in silence.
Yeah, that ruminating, feeling guilty, negative, dark thoughts, that piece, that's good. And I love the 988 number. Dr. Boykin, would you like to add anything?
Always, another option is to call your primary care doctor or OBGYN. I do see a lot of patients who come in and express their thoughts and feelings, and then we work through getting them services with behavioral health. And there is no shame in asking for help. And I always applaud patients when they tell me how they're feeling. And I thank them for that because I know it takes a lot of courage to be able to let someone know how they're really feeling.
Thank you, Dr. Boykin. Ellis, anything you want to add?
I think they did a great job in terms of like defining it. Um, Again, I'm a big fan of knowing yourself, right? So and sometimes when you're in the midst of it, it's hard to really recognize, but there's some clear cut symptoms. If you're finding it difficult to go to work, get out of bed, if you are finding you're not finding the same joy in activities that you used to have, find joy in, those are some signs that things could be a little bit off. Also, be aware of the season, right? The holiday season is one that's filled with, we get reminders of family and friends and fellowship. And if I can be personal just for a moment, I'm my father's going through some health situations right now, and I had this realization that while I was doing my thing, he lives alone, right? And so Thanksgiving week, everybody's out doing their thing, and he was alone, and that could be something that could be triggering to whatever the health concerns that he's dealing with right now. And so we have to kind of recognize what's going on around us and how the societal impact it could be having on someone in a very significant way. And if they don't have the coping skills to be able to deal with it, it could lead to something more dramatic.
Absolutely. And so as we're talking about the difference between clinical depression and holiday stress and winter blues, with clinical depression, think SIGI caps, sleep disturbance, sleeping too much, sleeping too little, decrease in interest, change in interest, don't feel like doing things, guilt, dark thoughts, changing your energy, low, concentration, can't pay attention, can't stay on task, appetite change. Some people lose their appetite. Oh my gosh, I probably don't do that. My appetite goes through the roof, and I'm, that. And then the S is for suicidal ideations or suicidal thoughts. And sometimes in Black people, it doesn't look quite like all that I said. Sometimes in Black women, Black men, it's irritability, physical complaints, those types of things. Not necessarily thinking you're suicidal, but if I woke up and I was gone, if I was in heaven, I'd be okay with that. I just don't feel like pressing in. And so that's what clinical depression looks like. And sometimes if it's bipolar depression, it might be your thoughts are going fast and you just can't sleep, those kinds of things. And so the clinical depression, the winter blues, it tends to come in seasons. As the days get shorter, the it's dark outside, it's not sun, and it's in the winter months that this happens. And when the sun pops back up in the spring, you're good. But it's kind of and it's not quite what Dr. Walker said. More than half the time, but it still feels a little bit heavy. And then the holiday stress is like, think about Home Alone. Remember the lady from Home Alone? And you don't even have to go back to Home Alone. You can just think about your mom cooking or your grandmother cooking for the family or just you. So those are the kinds of things that we're talking about. Feel free to drop in the chat because we are coming up to the time where we're going to check in with our audience, what your thoughts are about that. And if you have any questions about winter blues or whatever, but we wanted to really kind of paint the picture of what it is, because I remember distinctly in high school, I could not come up with a reason why late October, November, December, I was just like, great things were happening around me, but I was not feeling it. And it occurred to me that I I would be watching these movies, and those movies are written in a writer's room. So there'd be all of these this beautiful table, these beautiful decorations, everybody loving on each other. And my experience was I was raised as an only child, so it wasn't like all of those people around. And comparison is a thief of joy. And so wanting kind of what others had, how do we, after we identify that we have the holiday stress, now I'm going to start with holiday stress and work my way back. How do we recognize and then adjust? Just like Dr. Morris said, she starts to plan. I'm a non-planner. I just let it hit me all at one time and say, ah! Dr. Boykin says, send me your wish list or whatever, And by this time, ordinarily in January, I would have had February, about all of my gifts. Family, do you know how many gifts I bought this year? 0. And last year, I only bought one gift, the gift that I pulled. I'm a giver. It's baffling me that I'm not interested in giving lately, not that I'm not interested in giving. I'm not interested in shopping. So I'm pivoting in what it looks like for me. And I think I answered a little bit of my question. Sometimes you pivot and it helps you not have so much stress. But how are you guys dialing back your stress so that you can enjoy the season and remember the experience?
I try and keep doing all the things that I do throughout the year that help to manage my stress. So meditation for me is a big thing. It's just a few moments every morning. Exercise is really critically important for my mental well-being. And so now, because it's cold here, I live in Atlanta. It was 32 degrees when I woke up this morning, and so it's too cold for me to go walk. I only walk at 50 degrees or higher, just letting you know. But I've scheduled some extra sessions with my trainer. So figuring out how you can still exercise. So maybe you belong to a gym and you go back to the gym, or you do some extra classes at the gym that help you continue to exercise because it's cold and it's gray. But being really intentional about maintaining the routine of wellness and self-care is really very important.
Yes. Maintaining routines. She had me at exercise every morning in 32-degree weather. I'm excited. Dr. Boykin or Dr. Walker, I think I saw one of you on mute.
I was going to say, right now I'm recognizing that I need to say no to various activities. And there's just so much that we can actually do, so many activities that we can participate in. And sometimes for our own mental health and well-being, we just need to say, no, I can't do that. I can't participate in that meeting. It's wonderful, but I can't do it. And so in this season, I'm saying no, because I am actually taking more time for myself to do more exercise and well-being. Yeah.
You are speaking my love language. No, two letters, but it's easier to say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious than for some of us to say no. I love it. Dr. Walker Ellis.
Yeah, I agree with actually Dr. Morris and Dr. Boykin, and those are on my list. The maintaining your routine, and particularly your self-care routine, and not making an excuse that it's the holidays and I'll get back to it once the holidays are over, because the only person that suffers from that is you. So in addition to that, though, trying to identify, number one, your expectations, and then asking my loved ones their expectations. For example, I can't really give a good one this year. As I mentioned, everything's a little bit chaotic. But last year we went somewhere different for the holidays, had never done that before. But before going, I asked, particularly my girls, what do you want to do? What are some of the things that you would like to do on vacation? Because I think we we have all these expectations, as you mentioned, the holiday movies, but now it's the bombardment with social media and what everyone else is doing, and how glamorous things look, and then how we expect our holiday is going to be. But I think we need to set some goals or expectations. What do you want to get out of it? For example, what do you want for Christmas dinner? Do you want something different for the holiday dinner? Would you like to do an activity? Do you want to go hiking? Do you want to go to the movies one of the days that you're in town? Would you like to go painting? Just whatever the activities are. I think trying to be a little bit more intentional about incorporating whoever is in your circle, what they'd like to get out of it. I think obviously the beauty would be just being together and enjoying each other. But sometimes people feel let down because they have set a certain expectation, but no one around them knew what their expectation was.
Yes. Unspoken expectations is a recipe for disappointment, resentment, bitterness, and the whole shebang. I love that. Now I have to tell you, the spontaneous one in me is chicken and buck. Is it buck the nuck the buck? is is bucking against all of this planning that you all are talking about. When my husband and I went on our first trip together, he was so funny. He presented me with an itinerary. I mean, he had on there, presented me with the rental car information, the hotel, and where we were going every step of the way. And I was just like, wait a minute. First of all, you have us getting up at 7 a.m. You don't know me. Okay. It's like we've never met before. So do integrate that planning, but also enjoy some of these moments.
Yes.
It always um, amazes me when I'm walking through the airport that people are sitting right beside each other and they have the phones out. They have their earbuds in. They're not connecting anymore. People are in the same room together at dinner, and they are missing out on these amazing opportunities. My husband and I were traveling, and my daughter was in the room with two of her cousins that she only sees once a year, and all three of them had their phone out. Who knows what they were doing, but this was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and they were missing it. And I know they weren't doing anything important because they were 13 and 14-year-olds. They aren't physicians or doing whatever. They weren't doing anything important, but they had those phones out. So I'm going to say to you, yes, plan. Yes, be intentional, but also seize the moment. Enjoy that red bird outside. Go take a walk after and seize the moment as well. Said the person who annoys her husband, the crap out of her husband by saying, let's take a drive. Now? Huh? What? It's beautiful. Let's go see the lights. Okay. And by the time he gets up and decides he wants to do it, I'm no longer interested in seeing the lights. Ellis, go ahead. Weigh in before I get myself into further trouble by exposing.
I'm going to pivot because I'm going to bring in Dr. Walker and Dr. Morris here because today's date is November 30th, and you asked us a couple of weeks ago to hold you accountable to a certain activity that you were supposed to either
Producer.
do or not do. No. Don't deflect. Don't.
Producer, evict this man from the.
No, I'm producing now. I'm taking over producing activity. Okay. So
Audience, close your ears.
Please just give us an update on what you said that you asked us to hold you accountable for a couple of weeks ago.
Here we go. So, family, for those of you who don't
I have to do the double fist.
For those of you who do not watch religiously, I had these lovely ladies on as on a show in early October, I do believe, and it got good to me. I was drunk with you all, okay?
Okay.
And we were talking about going into the new year, planning for the new year, and getting a running start. And I had amazing ideas of what I was going to do. I was going to meal plan. I was going to exercise. I think we even came up. We dropped the link in so they can join our group or whatever.
Mhm.
That I was going to begin this process, and I was going to begin immediately. And I think I said I was going to. Ellis, did I say I was going to meal plan, lose weight? What did I say? It's been a minute. I'm not sure if
Mm.
I remember what I said. Do any of you remember what I said?
That sounds like somebody that didn't do it.
So you can't do it if you don't remember what you said.
I'm not
And,
going to throw you under the bus.
Don't throw it under there. It's all good. Throw it under there. I'm driving the bus. I drove the bus. You could just put you a passenger. Go ahead.
How about this? How about this? What you just mentioned, meal prep, exercise, we move forward and we do that.
Yes, because I'm going to tell you what happened.
What had happened
was after I said that, my amazing producer, I'm gonna look the other way so he can't see me, then announces that he's not going to be with me anymore. And so I don't have his face with that smirk on it to remind me and hold me accountable in the weeks, because I need accountability, right? And I'm an awful accountability person to myself. So what I'm really saying is, with all these excuses, is Ellis, forget you. No. but I'm going to tell you what I did start doing. Okay. For those of you who are like me, now you all understand you're not alone in your health journey. I started with prayer. Father, please change my taste buds. Yeah, I'm not lying, for real. This is my prayer. Lord, I need you to change my taste buds. I want to crave healthy stuff. I want to crave it. So now I am moving away from my tried and true coffee in the morning, and I'm trying to do green tea and water. Now I said trying because I probably nail it about 4 days out of the week. I'm not at 7, but it used to be 7 days a week I was drinking coffee. I said that I was going to meal prep. Now, family, I just lied to y'all. I didn't lie. I had good intentions, but I did not meet that goal. I also said that I was going to weigh in. And I think this is what I said. I think I said I was going to weigh in. I was going to tell you all my number. Family, I got on the scale, and that scale, listen, I had on the armor of God when I got on the scale. Okay. And the armor of God was reflected. And I had to tell myself, you are big boned. See, because in the Bible, it says a good report will make the bones fat.
Is that a medical diagnosis? Is that something? Is that a medical
in the
diagnosis?
Bible it says a good report will make your bones fat. And so I said, I'm big boned. I got good report, and I can't get back on here. It's gonna mess with my mood. So I didn't get on anymore. And I just started paying attention to my belt. And I got in some pants that I hadn't been able to get into.
Oh, awesome.
I went down 4 sizes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, that's awesome.
Look, see, Craig, Craig is the viewer of the day. Somebody give him a 5 stars or send him some stars. The Bible says make fat, not skinny. See, that's what I'm talking about. But in any event, I did go down 4 pen sizes.
I need chapter and verse.
Yeah,
don't just say the
4
Bible
pen sizes. But y'all, I was, even with the 4 pen sizes, I still got it. Yeah, family, I know you all tuned in for us to talk about something else. I can't even, holiday blues and holiday stress and winter blues. And Ellis now has just increased my holiday stress. I'm gonna need some help getting through the rest of this.
We're doing a live testing of that, because everybody was giving great advice. When I pitch with your whole words, see how that changed real quick, people. So we're gonna make this a lesson. So the lesson is this: a lot of times, sometimes we give great advice to other people, and I'm just as guilty of this as anybody else on this panel, even more so. I give the greatest advice, but I'm not really good at taking it, and I'm not really good at following my own advice. And so when we're talking about how we interact, when we're talking about now, and I've been saying this word all the whole show, self-awareness. That's a self-awareness piece that when we can get that, we can understand that, then that's the precipice of change, right? So we want to change for the better. We have to recognize those things that we're really good at, and we recognize those things that we're not really good at, and work on those things, right? And so Dr. Rhonda made this big grandiose promise. She was feeling good. As she said in her own words, she was drunk in the moment of the show.
I was drinking, but listen here, Michelle Pointer. Now, Michelle, I don't. Now, you probably deserve some stars, but
Michelle, you get the 5 stars. Craig, she wants to give Craig the 5 stars because Craig
I want to get Craig.
back up her
Michelle
foolishness.
says fasting will change your taste buds for sure. She talks about how herbs will change your taste buds, eating only foods of the earth and eliminating ultra and processed so-called foods. She is absolutely right, because let me tell you this. Thank you, Michelle Pointer. I'm having a conversation this week with a health provider, and she says to me, Dr. Mattox, I don't know what's going on with me. My brain feels foggy. I just can't do it, da 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 da. I don't know. I sound crazy to my staff, okay, because she's in mental health, and she says she sounds crazy, and so she talks. And my first question was, "Have you changed any medicines?" And she said, "No." And by the prompting of the Holy Spirit, I said, "Has your diet changed?" And she paused, and she said, "Yes." And so I went on to tell her the types of foods that help with your concentration: higher protein, lower carb. And she said she had been doing a dirty keto version, and now she's gone back to carbs. And I said, listen, heavy carbs will make you feel depressed. It will take you off your game. Thank you, Lord, because while we're talking about holiday blues and clinical distress, winter blues and clinical depression, understand how much your diet factors in. And so as she was sharing that, and she felt, how they said, she felt real hypocritical because she's out there preaching diet, diet, diet. And I told her about the time that, because I had to study my body. While I was in med school, if I ate some stuff, I'd be out like a light. I couldn't study. So I learned what foods gave me energy and what foods drained me. Mm-hmm. And every now and then I forget, and I have a little fudge for breakfast, or I have some fried rice, and family takes me out. My notes suck. I can't concentrate. I sound like I have ADHD or bipolar or both. Okay. So your diet during the holiday season, when you seeing all this stuff, choose good, choose wisely. Now, family, I'm gonna just tell you this: we ain't never gonna have Ellis Dean back on the show anymore. So you all better enjoy him. Straight time out. I'm gonna have to fire Asia for not evicting him when I told her. So one of you ladies gonna apply for my producer position.
Don't get mad at me. I'm look, everybody, we say this all the time: when you exercise, you need an accountability partner. Mm-hmm. All right. That's what I just gave you accountability right now. Okay. Yeah. I gave you a nice heaping plate of accountability. And so when we talk, and we didn't even talk about your milkshakes. We didn't even talk about your milkshakes.
You know what? You cannot.
I'm even gonna bring that up. I wouldn't even bring that up. Now you want to kick me off the show?
You might want to push that mute button.
I'm just saying, you can't be drunk with the anointing and talk in front of Ellis Dean, because he's like your baby sister or brother who come back and tell all in front of everybody. Now, Ellis, I want you to listen, mm-hmm. I did make a major faux pas in that I even said I was going to do it. But since I'm out there and mm-hmm. I try to be a woman of my word, Ellis, you drop in the chat for all to see the our thing. So before the end of the show, you all go and sign into our group, and we're going to be doing accountability. Now, based on the numbers that I saw, I will not be able to type those numbers in, okay? Because remember, I got on the armor of the Lord. But I will be accountable. And Craig, I'm going to tell you what, Craig, my man, Craig said it's biblical. God said, trust God, not man. Bob Marley said, do not let the doctors run. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait a minute now, Craig. Now, hold on a second now. All right. Craig, I want to get with you, though. Tanya Good said earlier, maintain boundaries. I was with you, Craig, while you was talking about what were you talking about? While you were talking about the Bible says make fat, not skinny. Yes, yes, yes. Now, so in any event, now we having entirely too much fun. Uh, Audience, listen here. Listen, what you've just seen is that we we are great coaches, but we need accountability. And
Mhm.
so as you are navigating your strong emotions, as you're navigating your depression, you want to come out here sometimes. You want to put your best foot forward. You want to post those pictures of you and your family on Facebook in matching pajamas. But you know your laundry room is overflowing. There ain't no, it might be some matching pajamas, but you don't even know where they are, right? And you don't even like your husband or your kids, because what is not talked about nearly enough is how people who have prayed for their children and those gifts from God rob you of your peace and your joy, especially during the holiday season when they want to be like Coco down the way. I'm gonna stop talking and let you all say something, okay? But and for my co guest on here, when it looks like I'm not letting you all talk, just know I had to spend 7 good minutes defending my bad name. I say good name, defending my bad name. You all go ahead and take it away. I got to get my mind back together.
Well, I heard three things. I have an acronym, AIM, AIM, and the first one was accountability. And that applies to our theme today of the winter blues and versus, depression is, having an accountability partner, I think can be empowering to you and that person. It could be more than one person. It could be a group, but certainly at least one of somebody that's like-minded in the things that you want to accomplish. And if it's, more exercise, increasing your mindfulness, whether it's prayer, meditation, it's always helpful to have somebody that is doing it with you and that's encouraging you, but also holding you accountable. That's A. I is just being intentional. So writing, journaling, writing down the things that you want to accomplish, the goals that you have, and being intentional every day about how to achieve that goal. So if it's, the weight loss or eating healthy, the things that are, that are naturally produced in our environment, then don't go buy the pack of M&Ms and, or the large pack at Costco and keep them in your office. So being intentional and really trying to identify your goals and trying to develop those habits that will allow you to achieve that. And the M is just move. I like move versus exercise. Exercise sounds like a task. Movement, it can be any form, but every day move. That has been shown to be helpful to keep, all of the things the ailments that you come to the doctor for away, hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, depression, anxiety, moving, but find your source of movement, not necessarily what someone else is telling you to do. If you like to walk, if you like to hike, if you like to run, if you like to dance, you can put music on and dance in your room. Nobody sees what you're doing for 30 minutes and you'll get your exercise. But give some free weights and you've got some weight bearing exercises also. So, but move. And so I think incorporating those three things may help us to get those goals that we've been talking about today.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And Michelle Pointer says, think your why, and that will help you make change easier because knowledge is power. So as you are navigating this, paying attention to your aim, but keeping in mind your why, and that makes it easier. Anyone else want to weigh in?
And if I could just add, just keep it simple. We set lots of goals. I'm a list maker. So I may have a list of 10 things that I want to try and get accomplished for the day. And sometimes I am overly ambitious. So backing up and saying no, like Dr. Boykin mentioned earlier, and really being kind to ourselves. Dr. Walker always talks about grace. So allowing for grace and just saying, okay, maybe I am trying to drink less coffee. Well, maybe we start out by saying, okay, well, what am I putting in my coffee? So if my mother drank coffee, black coffee with 3 sugars. So perhaps we cut back on one of the sugars this week. And then next week, we're down to 2 sugars and then, moving forward. So making things easy and in tiny digestible bits is really helpful because we want to be successful. And if we're not seeing results kind of immediately, we like immediate gratification, then it makes it hard for us to move forward. So having accountability partners, being intentional, moving, grace, all of these things really kind of help us not only during the holidays, but then also as we move throughout the year.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Show yourself some grace. Dial it back gradually. Sometimes we want to make the huge moves, but small, small, consistent, steady steps. That remember the tortoise and the tortoise and
the hare.
Tortoise in the hare. Ellis Dean wasn't reading those stories to that baby.
I'm just saying we might need another psychiatric consult for you, Dr. Mattox. You okay today?
Listen,
Huh?
Asia, I'm gonna slip you a 20. Just go ahead and evict him from.
I told Asia she could go. She is gone. You gotta let that go. I'm here.
Listen, I told you I was letting my coffee go. This water in here is not doing the trick. I think I just heard Ellis say, "Drink your coffee before the show every Thursday." Is that
don't put that on me? Don't put that on me.
So we have these things going, these strategies, the list, and I would add to the list. Make sure that you have a list of where on one side, is this urgent? Is this is this is this someone else's emergency that they didn't plan for, but it's not my emergency? Sometimes people drop things on you. I had someone invite me to something, and they needed me to write a letter, and the letter was due in 2 days. No, I'm gonna need 6 months. I don't like writing letters. So, is it urgent?
Or have them write the letter and send it to you.
Yes.
And then we're going to move the date out. Okay, I can review this in a week. But
Yes.
you're just not going to ask me to write a letter in 2 days. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
But that whole no thing that someone talked about, really gear up for that, because a part of why we are so burdened and overwhelmed is that we are trying to meet everybody else's expectations. And we are, and I'll tell you, I don't find it. I hear people say they're people pleasers. Yes, I want to please people. That's not a bad thing, wanting to please people. But when it becomes bad is when you are pleasing people at your expense, the expense of your health, the expense of your family, the expense of your finances. I mean, I don't want to just not please people. I mean, who does that, right? But I don't want. Let's prioritize what. Doing things out of love instead of being manipulated by guilt, right?
Yeah.
Because when people pressure you into doing stuff and then you finally consent and then you resent them. So during the holiday season, see if you are motivated out of love to do certain things or if you're being motivated by guilt. See if this brings you joy when you're invited to it or if it's just bringing you stress, those kinds of things. Now, I'm going to turn this way. Dr. Boykin and Dr. Morris, you all want to add anything?
I was going to say, be wary of social media, because again, when you see things on social media and you see people, everything looks so perfect, and that creates a certain level of pressure and stress. And so it might be to not engage in social media as much, if that will allow an individual to feel less pressure. And then the second piece, I just have to drop this in because I am a meal prepper. I've been doing meal prepping since, in college, med school. It actually is really helpful for those that do engage in it to cook, one or two meals over the weekend and then have the family eat from that. It allows the family to eat healthy, saves money, and does save some time. So just a consideration for your audience.
And she is a master meal prepper.
It really is. Absolutely.
And
If I
we
could,
just want to say we want to bring you back closer in January so that you can talk to us about meal prepping. That was one of the things that we had that inspired us to want to invite you. So we want to make sure that in late December or early January we have you back on the show so we can talk about that. Dr. Morris.
and if I could add just one thing, phones can go in a basket on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, unless you are on call or there's some family member who is ill. You probably don't need your phone. So put it in a basket and it needs to sit somewhere for, I would say, the whole day, but maybe that's extreme. Definitely for several hours around the meal time is really important, because if we are not present, that means that we can't have that connection, and it makes it really difficult for us to find the joy and to be kind of in gratitude with each other. These moments, we don't get them again. And there are some members of your audience who have lost close family members or parents. Both of my parents have passed, and being able to sit with them during the holidays, that would be fantastic. But I don't have that option. So what I want to say to everyone is these moments, just seize them and just really sit with them and be completely present.
Mhm. And as you're navigating this season, there will be certain songs or certain things that will happen. I watched the Best Man Holiday Edition, and that movie is about Morris Chestnut losing his wife.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
Well, it's a long time ago. So if you have not seen the Best Man Holiday Edition, in fact, you're not in the right. What?
You
Alice,
have to see it.
You do.
Alice? Oh my word! I just didn't think anybody.
Go ahead on. You go ahead on. Go ahead
So,
on.
and Eric,
Go ahead on.
that movie. So I watched that movie, and it triggered me because, of course, it brought, my mother died in January, so I'm going back to my last Christmas with her, and then another movie came on, and in the movie, the woman had breast cancer and she died, and I was just like, why in the world are they putting this on to bring me down? That's not why they put it on, but that's what it felt like. So be aware of your triggers and be intentional. When we use that word intentional, be intentional about giving your giving, you, giving yourself some grace. I'm giving your family. Ellis, talk. Just go ahead. I don't have anything else to say.
You were
Just,
talking. Be intentional. Give yourself some grace. I was listening.
You all have to follow this show closely to know what Dr. Milkshake means, but he is throwing shade at me right now.
I'm not throwing shade. My hands, I don't know. I was
But
trying to type Mattox and Milkshake came out. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, listen, and then if you know that there are some people that you do not like, I am giving you permission to not be around uncles who have molested you. I'm giving you permission to not go around the aunt who is emotionally abusive to you and your children, the uncle. I'm giving you permission to create a new holiday tradition, and you can just say these are doctor's orders. They don't have to know it's Doctor from I'm Not Crazy, but now I want to put this caveat out. This is for edutainment only, and I am liable free from you getting beat up for following my counsel just now. Ellen, go ahead and say something. Go on. Just go on. Go on and say something. What you got, Ellis?
I feel the love from you, Dr. Maddox. So, I will say, as we're wrapping up here, I will say traditions can be triggering, and we have to recognize that in those moments. So you're spot on. When you go around certain family members, you can feel it, that change in your body, and so. But you're supposed to be around family in the holidays. You're supposed to be so all of these things that we're supposed to do, that we're supposed to eat, that we're traditions that. Traditions are just are repetitive behaviors. They're not something that's locked in stone. And so you can start a new tradition for you and your family that's going to be healthier for both your physical health and for your mental health. And so the last thing, and I'm not going to throw any more shade on you, Dr. Mattox. I want you to pull your mental health up after this show, pull it back together after this show. But I will say, as we're there's been a lot of tips that we have put through this show, but I would say, please, please, please do not let your traditions be a prison for you and your family that's going to leave you in a continuous unhealthy loop. Please, 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 if there's something that's triggering for you, stop it and start a new tradition. It's okay. You can do that.
And if you know anybody whose birthday is on Christmas Day, listen. Don't you get them one gift? You get them two gifts. You call them and you say happy birthday first.
No.
Yes. You say
happy Christmas or Merry birthday.
You
Come
say
on now.
whatever. But do not let the people that you know who have birthdays on Christmas, Angela Parker, Jennifer, go the day without hearing from you a happy birthday and text them at 12 o'clock their time and say happy birthday. Put it on Facebook. You make a big deal out of your Christmas babies, spoken like a Thanksgiving baby who gets sick of y'all not making a big fuss about birthdays. But I want to say
it's real personal. Let the guests talk. Let them do their wrap up.
Now the guests only have 10 seconds to say what they have to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Thanksgiving baby.
Go ahead, jump in.
I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and remind yourself to just be kind, have a good time, and choose your family.
Great. Next.
It's been wonderful being on the show today. Thank you. Happy holidays to everyone, and enjoy the moment.
Thank you, Dr. Boykin. Dr. Walker.
Yes, I will echo what Dr. Morris said, that I will typically say is, in all areas of life, give yourself grace. Be intentional about what you want to do for yourself, to make yourself better and to make the lives around your loved ones and friends better. But to do that, you really have to take care of yourself. So take the time to practice self-care, whether it be prayer, meditation, exercise, or what I like to just say is just move, and give yourself grace in all those areas. And I wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. And thank you so much, Dr. Mattox. It's always fun, a pleasure. You're so lively, and it's always a pleasure to be here. I look forward to it every time.
Thank you. And we'll certainly have you back. Ellis.
No, I just want to say, everybody, please, I love what you put, Dr. Walker. So be accountable to yourself first. I love that part. Be intentional about what you do and what you say, and move. Those three things are three tenets that you can take into 2024 and beyond. I will also say, don't let your traditions become traps, and also find some self-awareness and find some moments for yourself in all of this going on this holiday season. Find some moments for yourself so you can be recentering people around you.
Yes. And I'm going to say, still away and and be by yourself some so that you can get grounded, journal, get you some vitamin sunlight, and just revisit what brings you joy and integrate that into your day. If you are struggling with depression, go ahead and go to psychologytoday.com and find and type in your zip code and find a therapist or a psychiatrist so that you can see and talk to your primary care doc about it. Family, this has been an amazing experience. My big brother's on here, Ellis Dean, who has made this. I don't know if I want to say a great occasion or not, because I'm having very strong mixed feelings, and yet I'm going to invite him back like I always do, so that he can tell all of my business that you all didn't know. But if you listen to the shows, you would have known. Ellis, we love you. Dr. Walker, Dr. Boykin, Dr. Morris, we appreciate you for coming on. This will not be the last. Dr. Boykin, listen, I hope you have some kind of business with meal prepping, because I will be your first client, sister. And as always, thank you for tuning in, audience. Same time, same place next week, Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern. We will see you back 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time for 1 hour with all this power. I'll see you back next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.